Before we get started in grammar, do you guys have anything you want to share really quick? Anything going on? Any update on anything or any plans you want to share? It's totally optional if you want to. Doesn't look like it. Everybody's just like, yeah, it's a regular day for me. Same here. I do have plans. I am going to go on Thursday to Texas. I know Grayson and Zach know about that, but my daughter, who's 26 years old, she graduated from a welding school, so she knows how to weld. Anybody know how to weld in here or are learning how to weld? It's kind of a really cool skill, kind of, sort of. Um, anyway, she went to a really specialized school in Texas and she is the top welder. She like won that position by working really hard at learning it. So she's going to do great, by the way. If anybody's interested in welding, it's a great skill and it's a great career to have. But anyway, so I'm going to go to Texas. I'm leaving on Thursday and I'll be back on Saturday. That's why I can't teach their class on Thursday. So anyway, I'm excited. I've been to Texas before, but I'm going to Houston. That's where the graduation's at, and it'll be fun to support her and congratulate her and everything. So that's it for that. Anyway, let's get into grammar. Grayson, Alex, I'm not sure if you're hearing me or not. Hopefully you are. If not, if you can't hear me, then you probably need to log out and log back in. So I don't know what's going on there, but let's get into grammar. Page 13. Plus, I'm recording this, so if you don't hear me, you can watch this later. Page 13. That's where we're at. Okay. Today we're talking about adjectives, which you guys already know about adjectives. This is going to be familiar to you. Basically, an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. I'm at the top of the page here, page 13. And it answers these questions, and it says to memorize it. And I recommend memorizing these, and it'll get easier as we go. But anyway, it says which one, what kind, how many, or whose. So the way to find it is to look for the noun and then to ask these questions. So look for the noun in the sentence and then ask which one, what kind, how many, or whose. Here's an example right here. Robin crossed the slippery bridge. Well, I know Robin is a noun, and so is bridge. And I see that word slippery. If I ask myself, what kind of bridge? It's a slippery bridge. That tells me that is the adjective slippery. If I look at the next example here, it says the bridge appeared slippery. And I still see bridge, that's the noun. But the word appeared is new, actually, and that is a linking verb, because remember how we talked about the 5 senses? I think that was last week. How those are actually part of the linking verbs. And so appeared is what is they see. It appeared, it looked that way as part of your senses. Slippery, but slippery still describes what kind of bridge. It's a slippery bridge. And then here, Robin carried his bow. Robin is a noun, but so is bow. And if you ask yourself, whose bow is it? You might say, well, it's Robin's bow. That's true. But right before that, it says his. It's still referring to Robin, but his is a pronoun. But in this sentence, because it's right next to the noun here, bow, that makes it an adjective. It's telling whose bow, it's his bow. So his, it is a pronoun, but we're going to label it as an adjective because it's telling whose bow. Does that make sense to you guys? Does anybody have any questions about that right there? Okay. It'll get easier as we practice this because sometimes, you know, these pronouns become adjectives like this one. It's called a possessive pronoun. It's telling whose bow. So the first step, like I said earlier, is to find the nouns and the pronouns in the sentence. Once you find the noun or the pronoun, ask the adjective questions to identify the adjectives. Those are these questions. Which one, what kind, how many, whose. And they're also in the margin over here, if you want to check that. And then you're going to write ADJ for adjective. So look at this example here. Robin strolled through the quiet woods with his bow. We have woods is a noun, and quiet is telling what kind of woods. Quiet woods. Bow is another noun, just like earlier. Whose bow? It's his bow, so that becomes the adjective. And then Robin's skill in archery was famous. So here we've got a couple of things going on. We've got that word skill, that actually is a noun. And if you ask yourself, whose skill? Robin's skill. Notice Robin's has a apostrophe S. That means the skill belongs to Robin. Okay, it's possessive. Skill belongs to Robin. And then here we have the word famous. That's an adjective because it's describing his skill. So there's two adjectives describing his skill. One adjective is it's Robin's skill, but it's also famous, a famous skill. Okay, just labeling them with ADJ is what you're going to do. Capitalization, you pretty much know these already. Proper adjectives formed from proper nouns, like the English flag. That English flag comes from England, which is a proper noun. That's the name of a country, but English is telling a proper adjective. What kind of flag? It's an English flag, flew at King Richard's castle. So King Richard's is also an adjective because it's telling whose castle. So you're going to capitalize both King Richard because that's his name, and capitalize English because that's the proper adjective describing the flag. It's from England. Okay. So those are capitalization rules. And then the last thing we're going to talk about on this page is quality adjective. Now it says it dresses up writing, and we're going to use this in our checklist soon to add to our writing. And it's not there yet, but it will be, because it creates a strong image or feeling. I like to use the example of the noun rainbow. If you think of a rainbow, that's a noun. And I could say, as far as an adjective, I could say the pretty rainbow. That works. It's an adjective. But there's even a better adjective to describe the rainbow. It could be colorful. So if I say the colorful rainbow, that's going to give you the image of all the colors of the rainbow. Sometimes rainbows are faded a little bit and you can't quite see all the colors, but if I use the word colorful rainbow, it creates an image in your head. And that's what a strong or a quality adjective does. It creates an image in your head about the noun. Okay, so that's an example here. It does in this paragraph mention Appendix 2. That's at the very back of this book. It's a blank page. If you want to just flip back there and see what it looks like, it is on page, where is it? 195. You see where it says quality adjective? These are just pages back here. You probably saw strong verb and ly adverbs. These are pages back here for you to write notes when you're reading a book or you're reading a story or something even from this book, and you come across a really great quality adjective. You can make your own list here. It's optional, okay? If you want to keep track of those words, you can write them back here. Okay. Back to page 13. Any questions about this page so far? Okay, good. 14 has more, so go to 14 next. Sorry, hold on just a second. We're talking about the who, which clause. That is also another dress up that we're going to be adding to our writing eventually. A who, which clause is a group of words that describes the noun it follows. It begins with the word who or which, a relative pronoun. So we use who when you're referring to people or personified animals and pets. That word's personified animals just basically means when an animal is doing human things like talking or, interacting on a more personal level, like characters. Anytime you have anything like that, you would use the word who. Otherwise, you're going to use which for things and animals that are just being animals, and places. Okay, those are the two times you use who and which. A who which clause is a dependent clause, which means it must be added to a sentence that is already complete. All right, they give you some examples here. The original sentence just says, Robin eyed the target. Robin eyed the target. So eyed just means that he was like focused on it with his eye, right? He's focused on the target. That is a complete sentence. So when you have a sentence like that, you cannot just put the word who in there because it will make it incomplete. So here's your example of a fragment, which is an incomplete sentence. Robin who eyed the target. They just put who in there, but it's incomplete because there needs to be more after that, okay? So look at the third example. Robin, who eyed the target, picked up his bow. That is a complete sentence. And notice you add an extra verb after the who or which clause. That word picked tells us what he did next, right? So he eyed the target. Robin, who eyed the target, picked up his bow. So it tells us what he did next. And you need that when you're putting in a who which clause. They always have a verb in the who which clause. Who eyed the target. So eyed would be that verb there. So remember, it steals the verb from the sentence, and you have to have a second verb. Whenever you put in a who or which clause, it has to have a second verb in order for it to be complete. Okay, I know I'm doing a lot of talking here. There's a lot to go over, but when you find these in the book, you're going to put parentheses around them. See how they did that here? It says Robin thought about the contest, which he hoped to win. Which is the beginning of the which clause, and you're going to put parentheses around it and label it with a W/W. That stands for who and which. They both start with W's. And labeling the subject and verb. Here, the subject is he, the verb is hoped. Because every who which clause has to have a subject verb pair. Okay. Look at this example. The men who worked for the king could not be trusted. Here you've got your parentheses around who worked for the king, parentheses. And that's the who which clause, so we label it with W/W. The subject is who in this one, and then the verb is worked. That's the action there. Notice they don't have periods here. I mean, commas. That's what we're going to talk about next. But I wanted you to focus on this sentence I just read. The men who worked for the king could not be trusted. No commas there because that clause, the who clause, is essential. And what that means is it tells the most important part about the sentence. If I took that out and just said the men could not be trusted, that's not telling me enough information, right? Because it could be, well, what men can't be trusted? Is it tall men? Is it men that live in that city? Or is it men that are part of that club? Like, how do I know which men could not be trusted? And this tells us the ones who worked for the king, that's a specific group of men, right? That worked for the king. Those men could not be trusted. So because it's essential to understanding the whole sentence, you don't have to use commas there. Does anybody have any questions about that? No? Okay. We'll go over this more as we go along, but basically you're going to put in those commas when you need to and take them out when you need to. But let's turn to page 15. This is the practice page. So now we're ready to work on this. Is there anyone that would like to read the sentences today? Anybody feel like reading? Okay, Grayson, thank you. Go for it.
Robin whistled and thought about the contest, which would be entertaining. He wasn't worried about the other archers.
Nice, good job. And entertaining is our vocabulary word. It's in bold. Anybody want to explain what is entertaining? How do you explain that? Something that's entertaining. JC?
Like something exciting.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Something amusing is another way to say it. So like a movie or a rodeo or some kind of a show to watch. Those are all entertaining. So let's put a check mark there now that we know what that is. And just to remind you, the articles a and the, go ahead and find those and mark them AR by yourself. There's only two, and they're both the. Moving on to nouns, Zach, how about the nouns? Where are they at? There's only three.
Robin,
Good.
contest,
Yes.
archers.
And archers. Yep. Good. How about Grace and Alex? Are you there? Can you tell us what the pronoun is in this sentence? I saw that you unmuted, but I can't hear you. If you can hear me, you might have to log out and log back in. For some reason, your camera and your microphone didn't connect. Okay, so I'll let you back in if you decide to try that. How about Bryce? Do you see the pronoun in here? That's going to be the word that takes the place of a noun. So like words like he, she, it, they, them, that type of word.
He.
There we go. Good. Adjectives, Lucy, do you see where those adjectives are?
Is it entertaining, wasn't, and other?
Close. Entertaining is one, yes, and other is one. That's true. And not, wasn't. There's another word to describe he here.
Worried.
Yeah, worried. There you go. So worried. Wasn't, the was part of wasn't is going to be a verb actually. So, but we got those. That's good. And remember, coordinating conjunctions. I just want you guys to write this in up here just to remind you. Remember, that's fanboys. We talked about those last week. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Those are those words for fanboys. They connect parts of the sentence. So back to Zach.
And in the first sentence.
And CC. And then Grayson, what about, do you know where to find the prepositional phrases?
Not really.
Okay. Let's come back to those because this is a good thing. I'm glad you told me that because sometimes if you leave those till the end, it's easier to find them. So how about instead of that, can you see where the who which clause is?
Which would be entertaining.
Perfect. Yes. So we're going to mark that with parentheses like that. And then W/W. We'll come back. We're skipping prepositional phrases. We'll come back to that. And then JC, what about let's look for the subject verb pairs. So I always like to find the verbs first.
Wasn't.
The was in wasn't. Yep, that's a verb.
Whistled.
Yep, good.
Thought.
Yep, that's one. There's a couple more, and they're like they're linking verbs actually.
Would.
Yes. And be actually is a linking verb. So those two go together, would be. And that's all of them. Good job. And then Bryce, what subject? So when you look at the verb whistled, who was it that whistled in that sentence?
Robin.
There you go. That's the subject there. And then inside the which clause, it's actually which is the subject. So sometimes like you already have two verbs and an adjective here. So that's the last word that doesn't have a label on it technically. So which becomes the subject, but Bryce, what about the last sentence? Who wasn't worried?
He.
Okay, good. S on top of that. Now, back to Grayson about the prepositional phrases, a little easier to spot now. And one way we can know is everything pretty much has a label, but there's a couple of words in here that don't have anything on top of it. And that's going to be your clue. That's your preposition. And remember, it starts on a preposition and it goes all the way, you draw the line to a noun.
About the other archers?
Yep, that's one of them, about the other archers. And there's one more.
About the contest?
Yep, you got it. See, that was easier. So that word about is a preposition. And they both start with about, and then you draw your line till you get to a noun. And that's how you find those. So if that helps you to leave that to the last thing you do, then do that. All right, capitals, Lucy, where are the capitals?
The capitals are the first, the Robin,
Good.
and after entertaining, he.
Okay, good. We have a comma rule here, and this gets a little tricky sometimes, but Zach, do you know if we take out a comma or do we put in a comma?
Take out the comma in the first sentence. Actually,
Good.
yeah.
That's it. Do you know why?
Because it's only listing one thing.
It's listing two, actually whistled and thought. He did
Oh,
two things. But if he did three things like whistled, thought, and ran or something like that, then you would need commas. But you're right. It's only listing two things. So no comma there. Good job. Period at the end mark. And then we are missing an apostrophe. You probably already saw that, and that word wasn't. You just plug that in right there between the N and the T. And that's it. Not too bad. So save that prepositional phrases till the end if that helps you. You also have a list, by the way. Any questions about this page? You guys have any questions? No. Okay. At the back, let me just double check. Oh yeah, it is. I think I told you about this before. The very, 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 very last page of the entire book is page 198. Here's your handy dandy preposition list. So you can go back there and look for one of these words. I think our preposition was about, and it's listed right here. So if you're having trouble finding that, you can use that page to help you, okay, in your homework. All right, put away your grammar. And go ahead and get out your binder next. Is there anybody that still does not have their binder yet? Okay, good. Everybody has it. Yay. Yay. Okay. You were working on this week the disgusting or delicacy. Wasn't that fun? About fried scorpion and stuff moving on the plate. And yeah. So before we put it all away, though, I want you to find in your stack this yellow page here, stylistic techniques. This should be in your front pocket of the stuff we had that you worked on this week. On this, you should have ly adverb already written in number 1. This is page 21. It's yellow. Thumbs up if you have this in front of you. Give me a thumbs up so I can see. Okay, good. We're going to add number 2, which is going to be who/which clause. And we just talked about that. And now we're going to use it in your writing. It's on the list now. And just like your grammar book said, use who when you're talking about a person or personified animal or pet. Use which if you're talking about a place or a thing or an animal just being an animal. Okay, now that you wrote that in there, who, which clause, I want you to put this page behind a tab that says stylistic techniques. It's toward the back. Show you what it looks like. It's way back here. This one. It says stylistic techniques. Look for that tab. And behind that tab, I want you to put that yellow page that you just wrote who, which clause on. Okay, it goes in that spot. Make sure to close up your rings once you get that in there. I recommend using the tabs of your rings. Don't pull the rings apart by the ring part because it'll bend and then you won't be able to turn the pages. So make sure you use this part, the binder, right here, the top and the bottom, okay, to open and close it. The next page, if I'm going too fast, tell me, you guys, okay? But the next page we're going to put away is this one. This one is also yellow and is page 23, and that one's going to go behind model, charts, and outlines. Model, charts, and outlines right here. You already have one back there. It's this one, so it's going to go behind this page, okay? So after this one, stick that in there. Teaching you guys how to keep your stuff organized. This is a good skill, especially when you guys are getting ready to get into high school. This is really helpful to know how to organize a binder like this. So all right. Other than those two yellow pages, the rest of the stuff, which is your keyword outline and all the pages that go with disgusting or delicacy, all of that is going to go in a separate binder or a separate folder that you have for your finished work. And that just needs to go in there somehow in the rings or if you have like a file folder, wherever you're putting your finished stuff, because we're done with this now. And you can put that away. Okay. All right. Got that put away? Give me a thumbs up if it's all put away. Good. Okay. Next, we are going to get out week 3. So that's back at the front of your binder again. That's going to be behind the source text tab, that very first tab. And you'll find week 3 called The Eagle and the Jackdaw. And you're going to take out all of week 3. And I think, let me tell you how many pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages you're going to take out. When you see week 4, leave that in your binder, okay? Don't take that out yet, just week 3. So there's 4 pages you're going to take out. Make sure you close up those rings when you're done. And you'll need a piece of lined paper. Once you have all that out and ready, give me a thumbs up. I see that. Okay. Okay. Good. Lined paper and week 3 is what we're looking at. Okay, good. Lucy, you good? You getting it out? Okay. Give me a thumbs up, Lucy, if you got it. Okay, good. All right. Next, let's see. Let's look at the first page I want you to look at is this one that looks like a letter. It's page 29, looks like a letter. It says letter to the editor. So if you are a writer as a job or career, let's say when you're an adult, you go through college and you get your journalism degree and you decide you want to be a writer, you want to write books, okay? those people who do that for a living, they hire an editor and they pay them, right? And the editor is the one who checks their spelling, checks their grammar, makes sure that everything is complete. You always have to have a second set of eyes to check your writing, even as a professional, okay? And normally you pay them, but I know you guys probably all have money, but I'm sure you don't want to spend your money on hiring an editor. So I'm not expecting you to do that. This is for your parent or grandparent or whoever does your homeschooling. They're going to be your editor. And instead of paying them money, you're going to do something kind to compensate for their time. Okay. It could be, and there's a couple of suggestions here in this paragraph down below. It could be something like cleaning something or pulling weeds, or my personal favorite, a shoulder massage. There's other examples of like making a cup of coffee. If your mom or your dad or whoever does your homeschooling likes coffee, you can offer to make them a cup of coffee just how they like it, with whatever creamer they like or however they like it. Or you can get them a snack, or you can offer to, get them a blanket if they're cold. You get the idea. So when they're doing that work for you, just reading your paper, that's how you can compensate for their time. Now, they're not going to grade it. I'm doing the grading, but this explains what they need to do. So basically, I want you to put your name here by writer's name. Go ahead and put your name there. And then after class, I just want you to hand your parent or grandparent this letter. It's for them, but I do want you to put your name there, and after class, just give that to them. Okay. And now let's look at this story next. Page 31. It's called The Eagle and the Jackdaw. Page 31 from that packet that you just took out. It does say attributed to Aesop. That means that it's an Aesop fable, and those are just made up stories. Usually they're about animals, and they're short usually, and they have a lesson, like a life lesson you can learn from. So some examples are like The Lion and the Mouse, The Tortoise and the Hare. You might have heard of that one before. This one is called The Eagle and the Jackdaw, and it's another fable. And so it's a made up story, but I want you to think about what lesson you can learn from this story. I'm going to read it. You guys be thinking about, what can we learn? A life lesson we can learn from this. Okay, so it says, a large eagle flew down from his lofty perch, seized upon a small lamb, and carried him aloft with powerful wings and talons. Kind of sad, but it's part of nature. Eagles do that. They see a baby lamb and they will take it away. Okay, they're a predator. A jackdaw, by the way, a jackdaw is like a crow. You can see that here. Blackbird, and we have a ton of crows in California. They're everywhere. So that's another word for crow. So a jackdaw observed the eagle's prowess and was stirred with envy. He wanted to emulate the strength and skill of the eagle. Therefore, he flew around with a great whir of his wings and settled upon a large ram. And if those of you who know about sheep a little bit, a ram is the male, and they're big and they're heavy, like 200 pounds heavy. Okay. Intending to carry him off, but his claws became entangled in the ram's fleece, and he was not able to release himself, though he flapped his feathers as much as he could. The shepherd, seeing what had happened, ran up and caught him. He at once clipped the bird's wings and took him home that night as a gift for his children. Okay, pause there for a second. Weird. It's weird. Why would you bring home a crow for your kids and say, hey, I got you a present? It's weird. But anyway, by the way, clipped his wings. Some of you, maybe you have chickens or know somebody that has chickens or birds. Clipping the wings is like cutting your hair. It doesn't hurt them at all, but it does keep them from flying away. So when you cut back those feathers, they can't fly away, but it doesn't hurt them. So anyway, that's what that means. He clipped the wings so that it would stay in the backyard so the kids could play with it, I guess. They said to him, "Father, what kind of bird is it?" He replied, "I am certain he is a crow, but he would like you to think he is an eagle." Okay. So, anybody have any ideas of what life lesson can we learn from this? What do you think? What can we learn from this jackdaw? Grayson, you have an idea?
Don't have jealousy.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Don't have jealousy or envy. And another thing to know is that everybody, every person, even in this Zoom, even me, even people in your family, everybody has a natural skill or talent that's natural to them, right? For the eagle, he was strong and it was a natural skill for him to be able to carry off a lamb. But a crow is a different bird, different skills. Actually, crows eat dead animals usually. But they're like scavengers, they eat dead animals. But he wanted to be like the eagle, but he can't. He's not smart enough, right? He went after the ram, the 200-pound ram, whereas the eagle, the lamb was probably only like 20 pounds, 15 pounds. They're little, right? They're like something like a dog, something easy to pick up for an eagle, right? Could be even less weight than that. It could be 10 pounds or 5 pounds. So the eagle is smarter. The eagle knows to look for the small ones. The crows can't pick up a ram. So anyway, that's something else you can take away from it, that everybody has their own natural talent, gift that they get that they can use in life, and to not be jealous of somebody else's talent. You have your own. And if you don't know what it is yet, you'll figure it out as you get older. All right, let's get out your lined paper. Let's set up our keyword outline here. So again, name here, top left corner, 9, 24, 24. Today's September 24th. Skip a line, skip a space there, and we're going to call this the eagle and the jackdaw. Did I do that right? Yeah. When you're writing that title, just pay attention to the capitalized letters here. Always in a title, you capitalize the first word, no matter what it is. Beyond that is usually the keywords. So notice and the are not capitalized. Those are not keywords, but we have eagle and jackdaw that are. So that's how you do a title. And we're going to talk about that a lot as we go, and then I just want you to put KWO, and that stands for keyword outline. This is another pretty short story, so we're going to skip a line and write your Roman numeral 1 here. And this one is going to have 8 underneath it. So move over a little bit to set this up like an outline. Make sure you keep your numbers nice and tidy. So I move over a little bit here from the pink line and make sure you kind of line them up under that. It's nice and neat. So this story has 9 sentences altogether. If you count the topic sentence, the Roman numeral 1, that makes 9. And we're still doing sentence by sentence for our keyword outline. Eventually, we're going to move away from that. But for today, we're looking at every sentence and we're choosing those keywords. So I'm just going to move this down, but you can have yours side by side. So you can see both the eagle and the jackdaw story and your outline together, but I'll do it like this so you can see it on the camera. The very first sentence, and I'm going to have you guys take turns helping me decide what keywords we should put in our outline. Now, some people, it helps them to underline the keywords first. If you want to do that, I'm okay with that. That's up to you. I'm just going to read the first sentence and I'm going to start with Zach since you're at the top of my Zoom list here. I'm going to read that sentence and you help me figure out what words we can put on our outline, and they need to be keywords, and you can only have 3, but you can use symbols and numbers and abbreviations. Those things are free, so you don't have to count those. But it says, a large eagle flew down from his lofty perch, seized upon a small lamb, and carried him aloft with powerful wings and talons. It's a lot. It's a lot of information there. What do you think, Zach? What can we put to remind us of what that sentence is about?
Eagle,
Mm-hmm.
what took the lamb.
Yeah.
Then, I don't want to put flew because there's a lot of other words, but like we
Yeah.
could put an arrow downwards because flew down.
Yeah. What if
And
before you go on, what if we circle this E in the title and we use E with a circle to remind us of eagle? Then we don't have to count it. That's a trick you guys can do too. That's a symbol. But I like the arrow down. He flew down. Okay, what else?
he he seized upon the small lamb, so you could put lamb, maybe,
Lamb next, is that what you said?
because there's a lot of stuff I just don't know what to
I
do.
know. I like that though. He flew down and we can remember that he grabbed the lamb. If you can't think of the word seized, that's okay. We know that he came down for the lamb.
Carried, and
I
then
think so
put an
too.
arrow up.
I like that. And you have wings and talons. You can probably pick one or the other.
It's easier to draw talons, so wings.
Okay. Or we can just put talons. I'm going to do that. If you guys, by the way, I meant to remind you, if you guys have a different way of putting this, you can do it your own way. So it sounds like Zach's going to draw talons, like the claws, and then put the word wings, or if you want to draw a wing and put the word talons, or just put talons, either way, it's whatever way makes sense to you, because these can all be different. That was good, Zach. So the eagle, he flies down, he grabs the lamb, and he carried it away with his talons. Nice. Those of you who have done these IEW keyword outlines before, like before my class, if you have other ways of doing it, go for it. Okay, so the next one is for Grayson. It says, a jackdaw observed the eagle's prowess and was stirred with envy. How can we record that in our keyword outline?
We can do jackdaw.
Yeah, we could do the
Eagles,
J. We could do the J like we did the E, huh? And that would save us. Jackdaw, sorry, go ahead.
eagles.
Okay, let's think about it.
Maybe we can do like something stir, like a stir something, like a symbol of stirring,
Okay,
and then we can do envy.
okay.
That's all I have.
That's pretty good. I wonder if we need, did you say observed? Because I kind of think that's important.
No.
because he's observing. We could draw some eyes. That's pretty easy to draw for observing. So we could do, I only know how to do SpongeBob eyes. So there you go. Those are my eyes. I call them SpongeBob eyes. Those are basic. So he's observing, and then he's observing the eagle. So maybe we could do the symbol for eagle again. So the jackdaw is observing the eagle. Maybe prowess and then stirred in envy, because we have 3 words left. Prowess, stirred, envy. By the way, that word prowess, I'm just going to look it up so I can tell you the exact definition of it. Or maybe it's in my book. Let me see. I want to tell you what it means. Prowess.
I read my book.
What was that? Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Prowess means an unusual skill or ability. An unusual skill or ability. So that's what prowess means. Prowess, unusual skill or ability. So the eagle's smart, like I said earlier. So he's got an unusual skill for that. All right, the next one's for JC. It says he wanted to emulate the strength and the skill of the eagle.
We can put emulate, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, emulate.
Strength.
Okay.
And then eagle.
We could actually include skill and then put an E.
Okay.
I like your idea though, JC. I'm going to do it like that. So emulated strength, skill. He wanted to emulate or emulated. Maybe I'll take off that D and just put emulate strength, because he wanted to emulate the strength and skill of the eagle. I just put an X over that just because I thought I like emulate better. That's good, JC. You were on the right track though. That's what I was thinking too. But I thought we could squeeze in skill. Okay. Next is for Bryce when you're done writing that. It says, therefore he flew around with a great whir of his wings and settled upon a large ram, intending to carry him off. This is a long one and it's kind of hard. I can help you with it, but what do you think we could put there for our keyword outline?
That helped. It was good. Right.
Zach,
Correct
you're
that.
unmuted.
Huh?
You're unmuted. So this is for Bryce. So it says, therefore he flew around with a great whir of his wings, and he settled upon a large ram, intending to carry him off. What do you think is the most important thing to remember from that sentence? It's okay if you're not sure. I'll help you with it, okay?
Settled.
Settled, yeah, that's a good one. What did he settle on?
Large ram. That's
Oh.
2 words.
Yeah, and we probably don't need large because we can assume the ram is large because they usually are. So you could say settled ram. And this is the jackdaw that's doing this, right? So I kind of feel like we need to start with the J. So we can remember the J was doing this. Okay, and maybe that word, yeah, let's do settled. And then ram. I like that, Bryce. And then what about the ending part here? Intending to carry him off. How could we put that part? What word could we use there? The two key words I see there is intending and then carry, but we only have space for one of those words. So you kind of have to decide which one's more important, intended or carry. Or can we draw one of those?
Probably just carry.
Carry, okay. You could put carry. But I think intended is kind of important. I'm wondering if we could do it like this to carry it away, because intended means that's what his plan was. But if we don't have that word in there, we might think he actually did carry it away, but he didn't. He intended to, but he didn't. Does that make sense,
I
Bryce?
mean, you can just circle carried and put a cross through it to
Ah,
show that you didn't carry it away.
I like that. Put that on yours. I like that. Like, I'm just going to do it in the margin over here like this, so you know what he's talking about, carried. And then if you circle it, I think we did this before in something else. That just means he didn't carry it. It didn't work out. So if you would rather use that instead of this here, intended in the arrow, you can do that. So it's flexible, you guys. You can make your outline yours. The next one is for Lucy when you're ready. It's right here. It starts with, but his claws became entangled in the ram's fleece, and he was not able to release himself, though he flapped his feathers as much as he could. Got to figure out what 3 words can we use there? What are the most important parts of that sentence? What do you think, Lucy?
Entangled, flapped, and
Well, I like that. Let's start with entangled. I do like that. Before we say flapped, though, we might be able to talk about not able to release himself. How can we represent that?
he couldn't let go.
Yeah, you couldn't let go. We could do like Bryson's idea over here. We could do release and circle it and draw a line through it. That tells us he couldn't release, or do an X over it. You know what I mean? Or next to it. You like that idea, Lucy?
Yep.
So let's do release. And if you guys have a different way, go ahead and do your way. Couldn't release. And then I like flapped. It's a good word. Good. You guys are getting it. That's good. Grace and Alex, are you able to use your microphone yet, or is it still not wanting to work? I hear nothing. What a bummer. Your internet must be having issues. How about Zach will do the next one, and then if you want to look at number 6, Grayson, maybe you can put it in the chat. Type in the words that you think should be on that next sentence in the chat, and I'll have Zach do number 5, and then Grace and Alex, you can do number 6. So number 5 for Zach says, the shepherd, seeing what had happened, ran up and caught him.
So shepherd and then we could write a pair of eyes again because he saw what happened.
I like that. And you want the word happened
Um,
or just the eyes, eyeballs?
I think, let me see. We could write happened and then
Caught. Yeah, caught is good. Or you could use ran and caught.
yeah, I was gonna say ran.
I think ran. Because
Yeah,
if he
ran.
saw it, we can kind of assume he saw what happened. So like ran and caught. But again, if you guys want to do that different, you can. It's good. I don't see anything from Grayson yet. I think he might be having some internet issues here. Type in the chat, Grayson, if you can hear me, put yes in the chat. Just type in yes, and then we can see that. Or no. I guess you wouldn't know to type no. If I said, can you hear me? Okay, good. You can hear me. That's good to know. Okay, are you working on the next sentence? Say yes or no in the chat. Okay, good. He's working on it. Your sentence is, but his claws became entangled in the ram's fleece, and he was not able to release himself. Oh, we already did that. Did we? We already did that. Okay, sorry. Your sentence is this one. He at once clipped the bird's wings and took him home that night as a gift for his children. What do you think, Grace and Alex? Put the first word you think could go there. What's one of the key words in that sentence? Clipped. I agree with that. Clipped. This is number 6. I think that's important. And an idea for wings is, I don't know if you've ever drew a bird. I'm just going to show you at the top of my paper here. Have you ever drawn them drawn them in flight like that, where it looks like they're actually flying? You can do that for wings, if you like that idea. What's another? So we got clipped and wings. What else, Grayson? What other word could we put there? Gift. I agree with that. Gift. And what's the last word? It's like we're talking to a computer right now. He's typing. Yes, that's what I was thinking too. Children. Is that what you guys were thinking too? Yeah, okay. Good. So we got clipped. We drew a little picture of the wings. Gift. Children. All right. So your homework is going to be, I think you guys are all doing a lot better at this, actually. You're going to finish 7 and 8 by yourself at home for the last 2 sentences. And then you're going to write this paragraph. So let's look really quick at the checklist, because there is something new on here, the who, which clause. So let's look at that checklist. Everything at the top, don't forget to double space and put your name on it. A couple of you forgot to do that on your homework. Make sure your name and date are in the upper left-hand corner. You need this list, okay? Make sure you use this list when you're doing your homework. And then you've got an ly adverb and a who, which clause. When you add your who, which clause, make sure you underline only the word who or which. You don't need to underline the whole clause, just the words who or which. And remember, who is for either the shepherd or maybe one of the animals that's kind of, when they have envy, that they're acting like a human. So you could say something about the jackdaw who was full of envy, wanted to blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's an example of using who. But if you want to use which, you could say something about the talons, which were very powerful. Because talons don't have a personality, right? They're just things. So that's an example of when to use who or which. And then of course down here, these are all normal stuff, but make sure you read it to someone when you're done so that you can make sure it makes sense. You have to read it out loud to someone. So you're going to finish this and write the paragraph using your checklist. Any questions about your homework this week? Nope, you guys are good? All right then. Put all this in your front pocket. That's where it stays for the week. So you know where it's at. Front pocket of your binder. And that's it for today. So good job, you guys. I will see you next week. Bye.